Here's a couple problems from 8.4. The first thing I'm going to do in this problem is factor anything I can factor. So this first one, multiples of 8, 1 and 8, 2 and 4, that subtract to give me 2. So when I factor the top, I get x plus 4 and x minus 2. Because when I take 4 and negative 2, they multiply to give me a negative 8, but add to give me a 4. On the bottom, multiples of 14, 1 and 14, 2 and 7. So they multiply to give me 14, and I read it backwards, but subtract to give me 5. So that's x plus 7 and x minus 2, because that multiplies to give me a negative 14 and adds to give me a positive 5. This next one, the only thing I can do on this one right here is factor out a 5. When I divide a 5 out of both, I'm left with x plus 7. And on the bottom, I have x plus 9. So here you're asked to do two different things. One, it says to simplify, and two says what are the restrictions on the variable. Let's start with the restrictions. And I think the restrictions is what threw you off more on this assignment. What the restrictions are is taking each factor, setting it equal to 0, and solving. So when I subtract 7 to the other side, my restriction is x cannot be negative 7. I add 2, and x cannot be 2. I subtract 9, and x cannot be 9. So my three restrictions are right here. Now to simplifying, I'm going to cross cancel anything from the top row to the bottom row. So I can cancel this x plus 7 and that x plus 7, that x minus 2 and that x minus 2. So my final solutions for simplifying is the quantity x plus 4, and I have a 5 in front, and the quantity x plus 9. So there's my answer to simplify. Let's try another one. All right, the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to factor. There's nothing to do on the top. On the bottom, I can factor out a 2 and an x. When I divide a 2x out of both, I'm left with a 2x minus a 1. So let's start with our restrictions. Restrictions come from the bottom, and we're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve. When I divide by 2 here, I get x equals 0. There's one restriction. I'm going to add 1, divide by 2, and my second restriction is x can't be 1/2. Now, to simplify this, the next piece I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel what's in common. So on the bottom, I have a 2x minus 1, and on the top, I have a 1. Here's another type of problem. What I have here is I have a division. So I say a silly little saying. Dividing fractions is as easy as pi. Flip the second and multiply. So I leave the first and I flip the second. I'm just multiplying by the reciprocal. Now, the next step here is if I have like exponents, I can add them together. So first, let's talk about our constants. 3 and 7 is 21. Now I can add these. 5 minus 7 is x to the negative 2. 7 and 12 is 84, and then I add my exponent, so it's y to the negative 1. So now we just have some simplifying that we need to do. So what I would do is, if you have a graphing calculator, put 21 divided by 84, turn it into a fraction. If not, I just have to kind of start breaking it down. 3 goes into this 7 times, 3 goes into 84, 28 times, 7 goes into 7 once. 28 divided by 7 is 4. So what I have right now is 1x to the negative 2 over 4y to the negative 1. We have one more step to go. I can't have negative exponents. So another silly saying is, if you cross the line, you change the sign. So the whole numbers don't change. If I cross the line and bring it down there, I change the sign. So x becomes positive. Why? If I cross the line and change the sign, it's positive there. So there's your final answer when simplifying.